Okay. Hi, this is Narika with Arlene the All Knowing. I'm back with my twin flame part 3. Twin flames and separation part 3. I told you in my last video that I will tell you guys how to do the work in separation and what is the purpose of separation. And I had a little note, things that I want to talk about. So I'm going to overlook that note right quick, and then I get into you and tell you these cards, what I have for you, twin flames. Okay, now I told you guys that I would talk about in separation and how to do the work when in separation. Okay, first thing I need to talk about is, first of all, not focusing on the twin flame in separation, because if you're focusing on the prize instead of the journey, I mentioned that in the last video, then you miss the value of the journey. And the value of the journey is when you go through union, right? And you meet your twin flame and you guys come together in the relationship, and you learn the ugly things about yourself that you need to change. And then in separation, you start to change those things. And the reason why you start to change is because you're dealing with you lost the person that you love due to not making those changes. And so it kind of forces you into change. Okay, now this video is about doing the work and what is the work of a twin flame. Alrighty, now down to these cards. What is the work of the twin flame? The first work of the twin flame is to teach. To teach others, that other people that is involved in twin flame relationships that's coming behind you. 1, 2, to teach those that is not in twin flame relationships, but they're in life partner relationships. They're in soulmate relationships or catalyst relationships. You're teaching them your journey, the things that you went through in your situation can be helpful to someone else. Solar plex chakra. Solar plex chakra is very important. Solar plex chakra is the area between your belly button and your private area. That is the solar plex chakra. Now, why is that area is important in twin flame situation? The reason why that is very important is because, let's get spiritual. In the spiritual world, the belly, the gut, that's the portal. That's the portal for healing. That's the portal between the spiritual world and the physical world. This is the pelvis area, the uterus, where children is born and created in the womb. So if that womb is not healed, then we're not creating a productive society. If that womb is imbalanced or in pain, it creates, where my gurus say, all these hurricanes and earthquakes popping up and tsunamis are popping up in different places, coming from us women in pain, crying from your uterus on up, you know, causing these things. And if it's imbalanced, then it causes chaos. So love abounds. Now, what this means is like unconditional love. That's what this means. Unconditional love. Like this love is like, this is like, you see this love, you see that the heart is green. This is a productive love. This is the kind of love that heals people. This is the kind of love that nurtures people. This is the kind of love that allows our universe and our earth to be healed. And through this, because what we don't understand is all this nonsense, you know, it makes my soul, I'm not going to lie. Ever since I started my process, I have been very sensitive to negativity. You know, this causes my attitude. I have a terrible attitude when I'm around people listening to negative things like disrespecting your lovers, disrespecting your children, all these negative mind frames, hatred, jealousy, all of these things. It just gives me bad attitude because I know how much of that negative energy is destroying our world. It's making our worlds. We're creating children that is disrespectful and all of these things. We're creating this through our love, you know. And this is the reason why love abound is important in the work of the twin flame. Nurture. You see that card is there again. That love, that kind of love, that nurturing is there again. That is very important. Nurturing. To be nurturing. Not only nurturing to our partners, but to nurture to the earth and heal the earth and get in tune with the flowers, the plants, the water, the animals, human beings, you know, to nurture. Any aspect of our life needs to be filled with love. Awaiting results. Once you plant a seed, once you nurtured the earth, then once you watered it, tend to it, gave it food, sunlight, and all that, then you sit back and you watch the universe transform into this beautiful earth that we created with love and peace. That is the work of the twin flame. Reach out. Now, if you notice in this card of reach out, it's like all different shades of colors. Not just black people, but white people, Chinese people, Mexican people, and all these things, like different people, is reaching out to mankind, reaching out to our twin flames, reaching out to our friends and family, reaching out to those that we love and care about, and even strangers, people that we trying to touch people all around the world. We trying to make a difference. Because if you start with the man in the mirror, then if I start with myself, you start with yourself, you start with yourself, and then you look up and the world is healed. The world becomes a better place. It stopped being a world of hatred and started being a world of love. Control. Now, this is one of the biggest issues that twin flames have, is losing control or controlling, trying to control the situation. But that is not this card. This card in the work is controlling your anger, controlling yourself, having patience, how do I say this? The kind of power that twin flames have is a kind of power that you can control all things when you get to the level of your higher self. You can start controlling the negative things that come into your life. You can start controlling bad energy and all of these things. You can start controlling these things once you get in tune with your higher self. And so the only way that we can get in tune with our higher self is to focus on the journey. Now, last but not least, the third chakra, the third eye chakra. To open the third eye chakra is very important in the work of twin flame, because you have to get in tune with your higher self. You heard me say that a couple of times. You heard me say nurture a couple of times. Those are very important things, is getting in tune with the higher self. So when you open up your third eye chakra, what happens is you get in tune with many avenues of communication. You get in tune with things that messages from you to the higher power, like psychic work or healing, or crystal healing, spiritual healing, and all of these things. When you open this third eye, you become the divine energy that you and your twin flame come together and do this. Now, let me tell you, all right? If you're anything like me, when your twin first started communicating telepathically, you rejected him because you didn't want him to communicate to you in the spiritual. You wanted to hear his voice in the physical. You wanted him to show up. You wanted him to be there. And so when he tried to communicate telepathically, you rejected him. Okay. So the reason why you rejected him is because you was trying to control the situation. You wanted the situation to go the way you wanted it to go. And so you rejected, just like you guys be rejecting your soulmates, y'all be rejecting karmic soulmates coming in your life and all of these things, because you want to control the outcome of the situation. And this is not how this process goes. You can't control a twin flame relationship. You couldn't control whether he came into your life or not. You couldn't control whether he left. So in this process, this is where you lose control, because in this process, things happen the way it's supposed to happen. Whether you volunteer or not, things is going to start moving to shape you becoming your higher self. And so if you don't take the karmic soulmates or the soulmates, what happens is you start getting karmic soulmates and soulmates in your family life, your bosses, your friends, things like that. You won't be dating your karmic soulmate. You will notice that your friend will gravitate towards you and become your karmic soulmate, or a family member will become your karmic soulmate or soulmate. And it will be more difficult when a friend or a family member become a karmic soulmate, because they tend to be a little bit more harsher than a person that you're actually dating, because they tell you how it is. They're not afraid. So if I were you, I would take advantage of my karmic soulmates and my soulmates, because they help you on your journey also. They're not less valuable than your twin flame, because they all are a lower vibration of him. And, you know, when you're going deeper into this twin flame situation, if you participate 100% in the process, you will realize that you had experienced a divine journey, something worth talking about, certain something worth being a part of. It's not just a toxic relationship like this young lady said it, because she was tired of being alone. She went through these different stages of denial, devastated, angry, all of these things. Yes, you go through these different emotional, but the only reason why you go through these emotions because you refuse to follow the process. You start to try to control it. And my advice to you guys is, just like I sit down with my clients, I go one-on-one with you, I go hand-in-hand with you, and I walk you through these processes so that you can learn quickly and you can heal quickly, because when you accept the process, it's easier to go through it. And I'm going to say that again. When you accept the process, it's easier to go through it. If you continue to act jealous or controlling, the situation get worse for you. But when, you know, I sit down with when I was talking to one of my friends, and I said, when I told her that, I prayed for my twin flames. I put my twin flame with his his wife he's with now. I put them together because I was angry at him, and I bonded them together out of my anger. And then when he came to me crying about this girl is cheating on him and she's making his life miserable and all of these things, I tried my best to take them apart, but it didn't work like that, because the spirit had to show me that I shouldn't have got involved. I shouldn't have did that. And so I had to watch him go through that. And he said something to me. He said, why you always getting angry with me and cursing me and stuff when you don't understand that you the only person that really truly care about me anyway? So you do something to me and you the only one gonna cry about it. He said, you ask God to punish me and make me get in a car accident or to shoot me or something, and then you the first one by my bedside. You the one that's praying for me, God to heal me. So why do it and then turn around and have to pray for God to heal me in the first place? And so, you know, I thought about it and I was like, you know what? He's totally right. Why would I hurt myself? Because hurting him is hurting myself. Wishing someone to come and kill him because he don't want to be with you is hurting yourself. Now that I said all of that, let me give you guys some little tricks. Do you know why I don't get lonely for my twin flame? It's because me and him communicate. We communicate telepathically. And I talk with him, and sometimes it do get frustrating because telepathically talking and actually physically talking is easier than telepathic. You know, it drains a lot of my energy. I try so hard to stay awake when doing it, but you know, sometimes it makes me sleepy. So utilize telepathic, because you rather have some form of communication than having none. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, that's the truth. You rather have some form of communication than having none. That's one thing. The second little tip I would give you is, another reason why telepathic is good for you is because if you and your twin flame was like me and my twin flame, we hurt each other. And when we hurt each other, every time I would call him, I would cuss him out and stuff like that. And so I would say harsh things and he would say harsh things. And so Like, just like I realized texting is easier to calm a fight than actually talking to that person. Telepathy is the same way like that. When you talk to your twin flame telepathically, you guys kind of make up and heal quicker during that process, because he's not in front of you. So he's most likely to say things from his heart telepathically than he will say in the physical. Okay? Now, I'm going to say this again because I listen to a lot of videos. I talk to a lot of my clients, and they, you know, go backwards and forth with themselves about believing that they're talking to that person, or why he in love with me when he talking to me spiritually, but then when he getting in the physical, he treat me all bad and stuff. Well, guys are stupid, and they do that. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I used to do that to my I'm not gonna lie. I used to do that to my twin flame. I would cuss his butt out. Every time I would talk to him in the physical, I would cuss him out. And then telepathically, he'll tell me he love me. Do you love me? And I'd be like, you know, I love you. And in the physical, he'll call me, and I'd be like, fuck you, don't call me no more. You know, like I'm pissed off at you. And he'd be like, why you always cussing me out? You know. And so it made him shy to even talk to me, because he used to call me crazy girl. You know you crazy, right? You know, because he didn't know what he was getting that day, whether he was getting me, was I going to be nice to him, or I was going to be mean to him. And a lot of times it was because I was hurt. He wasn't there in the physical. I had went through something. Every time I went through something, I would blame him. And it wasn't his fault. It was really my fault. And so I just needed somebody to blame. And that's about this whole process. That's what it's about. It's not that it's toxic. That's what these people, okay, this relationships is designed for. Is when you talking to yourself in the mirror and you say you ugly, you stupid, you fat, you dumb, you know, all of these things. That's the same shit you're gonna do to your twin flame. You're gonna say, you know, F you, this, and the third. Why? Because this the only person in the world I could do this to. And sorry, it's not fair. You know, some of the stuff that the twin flames do to each other is very harsh. But it's because you looking at these relationships like regular relationships, okay? And that's where you're going wrong. You have to tell yourself, stop being hurtful to yourself. It's easier for us to go out and love someone else, but it's very hard for us to show love to ourselves. And that is the real reason why, if you're in a twin flame relationship and you're being very abusive in that relationship, is because you're more abusive to yourself. And this is why you have to change these things. This is why separation is needed. It's because sometimes you have to take yourself away from the situation so that you can be able to see where you're going wrong. And so when I did that, I was able to do my job. I was no longer sitting in my house crying myself to sleep. I was no longer torturing myself for something that was going to happen regardless. And separation can be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or decades. It depends on you. Now, let me let you in on another secret about separation. I don't know if I hit on this in my first video. What we don't know is separation sometimes come about because you want a family. Not to say that you can't have children by your twin flame, but it got to be according to the contract that you and the twin flame make. If y'all did not make that contract, then most of your babies is going to be spiritual. And what that means is your physical children, sometimes you and your twin flames make these babies spiritual first, and then they come into existence. And so, but physically, you don't make a baby together unless that's in a contract, and most twin flames don't put it in a contract. And so because of that, a lot of twin flames have children by other people. And when y'all get together, you love each other kids like they, belong to you. Like, example, my twin flame daughter looked like she could be my daughter, and my daughter looked like it could be his daughter. So he loves my daughter very much, and I love his daughter very much. It's like that. And so, but if you want children, then you're going to separate, because you're not going to be able to have a child by your twin flame. And so if you want the family experience, then the spirit is going to separate you and bring in a soulmate so that you can have that family environment. And so when that experience, when you have actually got it in your heart that you're not the same like everybody else in this in this world, you're different. So when you find out, like, okay, you got all that out your system about having babies and all of these things, then boom, your twin flame comes back into your life. And you guys share each other's lives. Well, and then too, sometimes you and your twin flame, even though y'all are alike, y'all want different things. He may want to do this thing, and you may want to do another thing. And then after you guys have experienced life, then y'all come back into each other's lives. And so this is why you can't allow your life to stop because he's not there. Because that's when you're going to reunite, when you realize that you don't need your twin flame. You want your twin flame, but you got to not need him. You got to not need him to be able to live. You have to not need him to be able to go on with your life. You just gonna have to allow him to coexist in your life, and then you'll be okay. Now, one of the things, if you communicated telepathically, you will realize, like me, in my part 2 video, I told you, I started off with saying I wanted to share the experience that I had with my twin flame. This week, I went through a situation, and I was like, I had to check myself, and I was like, why am I feeling like this? And then I, asked the Holy Spirit, like, what's going on with him? Because if this is not my energy, this got to be his energy. And so sometimes if you stop being selfish, you will realize that you guys work together. Because if, say for instance, you always was lucky and all of a sudden you lost your luck, you better check in on your twin flame, because he may have done some things that's going to affect both of you guys. Because when you go through union, it unites y'all. This is the process that makes y'all one. So if you was coexisting in the world without him before union, like if you was doing things and he was doing things and it wasn't affecting y'all, but once you make union, it started to affect you. And what he does, because y'all become one then. Y'all be like one. He could feel you, you could feel him, and y'all kind of sync. So now if he does something and it fucks up his luck, it fucks up your luck too. If he say for instance, he's going through a situation where he's around bad people, all of a sudden you start noticing bad people in your life. That's why you have to be in tune with him, because if you're in tune with him by you being the praying one, you can pray these things up out of y'all lives. You understand? And then you will have a peaceful, harmonious lifestyle. But if you don't, and you don't pay attention to these signs and things that's going on, you won't realize what you're supposed to do. If your twin is blocked and it's causing you guys not to go on reunion, you need to ask the Spirit, what is the problem? So that the praying one can fix things. And that's how you heal each other during separation. And that's how you start doing the work. That's the work that you got to do with the universe, to teach what I'm doing out here every day. Me doing my spiritual healing, me out here talking to other people and explaining it to them who never heard a twin flame a day of their life. This is the work of the twin flames. We're helping the nation heal. And knowing the importance of healing and how our situation and the pain that we go through causes us to hurt other people. And so twin flames are example of the higher self. We're the example that the divine spirit loves us and wants us to love others. Okay, I hope that I was a help to my twin flames. And I pray to God that you guys have good experiences in your journey. And I hope that you start looking at things a little bit differently now. And start to do more research in what you in. And not just like, oh, I'm a twin flame. It's just like this. And the 1111, the 22 phenomenon. It's past that. It's way past that. You can do so many great things together. And not even be together. All you have to do is get in sync spiritually. Okay? Now, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to be out of this video in a second. This is Aline, the All-Knowing. And my name is Narka. Please hit me up at the Aline, the All-Knowing at gmail.com.